Randy, you know, a conversation with you we span thousands of years when we talk.
I think we do.
But I want to start in Brooklyn. Let's talk a little bit
Of
about Brooklyn.
course.
We have to start there.
Of course.
Let the rest of the world know what a wonderful place Brooklyn is, please. Tell them.
Incredible, especially during that period because, you know, it was music everywhere with no television, no disco, everything was live. You walk down Sumner Avenue and Hancock Street and you hear the jukebox playing Duke Ellington's Main Stem way out in the street, you know, not to mention the dances and the clubs. Brooklyn was fabulous, fabulous.
You know, you say the dances. Dance was a very important part of the music at the time. I mean, people sit and listen to it now, and there's not as much dancing with it. What do you think of that?
Well, because, you know, during the Second World War, they put a 20% tax on places of dance. Yeah, and that's why the ballroom shut down. And that's when the music got away from the dance. But before that, we played dances. You know, you better play for dances, you know. So it was all connected. But when that tax happened, that's when the music and the dance separated. A lot of people don't realize that. Because in the old days, like Savoy Ballroom, if Duke Ellington came in with some new music, they would have the best dancers there to create a new dance for the new music. Yeah.
And then in Brooklyn also, there were plenty of places that...
Of course. Sonia Ballroom, Brooklyn Palace. And we'd go to Shadow Gardens down in the Village. And I'll never forget a concert where they had Max Roach's group and Art Blakey's group, a Battle of the Bands. And everybody was dancing. Billy Eckstine came with his band. Everybody would dance. Charlie Parker, everybody was dancing. People don't realize that. But yes, the dance and music were one.
And there was a community spirit also.
Of course. Tremendous community spirit. You know, Brooklyn was really community because a lot of the musicians who came from Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta, San Francisco, they come to New York, you know. But being born in Brooklyn, and you know, our mother and fathers, they were all great, you know. So we bring the musicians to our house and welcome them to Brooklyn. I used to pick him up in my father's car and bring him to Brooklyn. And sometimes we hang out 2 or 3 days looking for people who had pianos. Special period.
Speaking of your father, we opened with the piece that you wrote about your father, and we're going to close with that piece. Could you tell? First of all, I want to say your father was really something.
He was really something.
He was something.
He was really something. You're right.
Yeah, I really liked him.
Yeah, he was special.
I really liked him.
Special man. He gave me Africa, and he made me take piano lessons. So he gave me two most important things in my life, you see.
How did he give you Africa? What did he do?
Well, he was very much with Marcus Garvey, although he was an individual. So he said to me when I was about 6 years old, my son, I'll tell you one thing. You're an African born in America. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Therefore, you have to know the history of Africa when Africa was great, when Africa was the first civilization. So in the house, Pop would have maps of African kings and queens and photographs. He had a book by J.A. Rogers. And you know, so I got my training at home because in the schools you got nothing about black people but stereotypes, you know. So it was very important. My mom, she gave me the black church and the blues. So I was blessed. And all of us, we all knew each other's parents. I always point that out, you know. I go to Max Roach's, I knew his mother and father. I knew Monk's mother, you know, brother. So it was really family, the music. You know.
And then my husband, Jimmy Gittens, his father and your father had your shops. His was on Gates Avenue, and yours was yours on Putnam?
Oh, yeah, Putnam and Sumner Avenue.
Yeah.
And I used to go by and see Jimmy Gittens. He was special. But these places were not just restaurants, but they were also places of cultural activity. So you go there, and as young people, we always have discussions. But the key was always how we can help our people. That was always the foundation, whatever we did. Whether it was a Freddie Brathwaite or Jimmy Gittens, Lefty Morris, the guys we grew up, they were always Max. It was always, we were in tune with the community.